Welcome everyone. Before we dive in, be sure to check our previous videos, as well as drop your thoughts, feelings, and lessons in the comments. Like the video and subscribe so you never miss stories like this. Let's get into it. Marcus Cole grew up on the east side of Detroit, the kind of neighborhood where sirens were more common than lullabies. His mother, Evelyn, worked double shifts at the hospital, and he picked up shifts at car wash after school. Money was always short, but his heart stayed big. From the moment he first saw Tiana Brooks at church, with her perfect curls and easy smile, he was gone. She was everything he dreamed of, confident, stylish, and untouchable. He told himself that one day he would be good enough for her, financially and otherwise. One Saturday after service, Marcus finally found the courage to talk to her. His hands were shaking as he asked if she wanted to grab a bite at the diner down the street. Tiana glanced at his scuffed sneakers, then at the beat-up Honda he drove, and laughed. Not a playful laugh, but a sharp one that cut through him. "I do not eat at places like that," she said loudly. Her friends turned to stare. "You cannot even afford a real restaurant. Marcus, please be serious." People nearby chuckled. His face burned as he mumbled an apology. He told himself it was just one bad moment, that maybe she'd been embarrassed or caught off guard. Weeks later, he tried again, this time after a community event. He had saved enough money to take her somewhere nicer. Tiana was surrounded by friends, dressed perfection in a fitted dress and heels. When he approached and nervously asked if she might want to go out sometime, she rolled her eyes dramatically. "You still on this?" she said. "Marcus, I'm not dating a broke man. I have standards." Her friends laughed, and he wished the ground would swallow him. The third time hurt the most. He sent her a heartfelt message on social media, explaining how he admired her, how he was working hard to build a future, how he just wanted one chance. She did not respond to him directly. Instead, she posted a screenshot of his message on her story, captioned, "Men with no money be the boldest." Laughing emojis followed. When Marcus saw it, his chest tightened. People reacted and made jokes. He turned his phone face down and sat on the edge of his bed, humiliated, wondering why he ever believed he was worthy. After that, something hardened inside him, but it did not turn him cruel. It turned him focused. Marcus promised himself that if people were going to judge him by his pockets, he would build something that could never be mocked. He took every overtime shift he could, enrolled in night classes for business and real estate, and cut out anything that did not serve his goals. No parties, no impulsive spending, no idle weekends. While other people were out taking pictures for social media, Marcus was studying market trends and reading about building generational wealth. The years that followed were a blur of grind and sacrifice. Marcus bought his first rundown duplex with a tiny savings and a risky loan. He learned how to fix broken pipes, paint walls, negotiate rent, and evict tenants who disrespected his property. He failed, learned, and tried again. Slowly, the properties multiplied. One duplex became 3, then turned into small apartment buildings across Detroit, and then in nearby cities. His clothes improved, his bank account grew, and so did his quiet confidence. He still remembered Tiana's cruel words, but now they fueled him instead of breaking him. By 32, Marcus was a respected real estate investor, with a growing portfolio and a solid reputation. He moved his mother into a beautiful home in a quiet suburb, furnished it with everything she had never been able to afford. Evelyn cried when she saw the kitchen. He drove a sleek black SUV instead of the noisy Honda. He gave generously to the church and sponsored youth programs, remembering what it felt like to be dismissed. Yet, despite his success, he kept his private life simple. Love felt dangerous now, like a test he had already failed and barely survived. One Friday evening, Marcus met some friends at an upscale lounge downtown. The lighting was warm, the music soft, the air filled with the low murmur of people who had somewhere to be and something to prove. He was laughing at a joke when he heard a familiar voice behind him. "Marcus, is that you?" He turned and froze. It was Tiana. Her hair was longer now, styled in a sleek bob. She wore a fitted jumpsuit and glittering jewelry, but her eyes showed a flicker of surprise and something else. Sudden interest. She looked him up and down, taking in his tailored blazer, watch, and calm posture. "Wow, you look different," she said, lightly touching his arm. "I almost did not recognize you. You are really out here glowing." Her tone had changed. There was no mockery now, just curiosity. Marcus felt old embarrassment rise up, but he pushed it down. "Life has been good," he replied simply. Her lips curled into a smile. "I can tell," she said. "We should catch up sometime. Maybe grab dinner? There's this new spot I've been wanting to try." Marcus hesitated, hearing echoes of her past insults. Part of him wanted to walk away, leave her standing there with her polished smile. But another part, the part still craving the validation of the girl who once humiliated him, whispered, "This is your chance." "Sure," he said slowly. "We can do that." She grinned and handed him her phone so he could put in his number. As he typed, he wondered if he was making a mistake or reclaiming something stolen from him years ago. He told himself people could change, and that he had, so maybe she had too. Their first dinner together was surprisingly easy. Tiana laughed at his jokes, asked about his business, and leaned in when he talked about taking care of his mother. She told him about her job in marketing, how she worked with luxury brands and traveled sometimes. If she remembered the cruel things she had said before, she did not mention them. "You have really become that guy," she said, eyes shining. "I always knew you had potential." The lie stung, but he swallowed it. The food was excellent, the atmosphere soft, and it was easier to just let himself enjoy her attention. Weeks turned into months, and their relationship grew sweeter on the surface. Tiana posted them on social media, calling him her man, under perfectly filtered photos. They went on weekend trips, stayed in boutique hotels, and dressed in matching outfits from time to time. Marcus bought her thoughtful gifts, jewelry, purses, spa days. For the first time, he felt like he was living the life he once dreamed of. He told himself the past did not matter anymore. What mattered was now. The way she held his hand in public and fell asleep on his chest at night. Still, small red flags waved at the edges of his peace. Tiana flirted easily with waiters, bartenders, and men she called just friends. Her phone was always face down on the table. Late-night notifications lit up her screen, while she hurriedly silenced them. When Marcus asked about it, she brushed him off. "You are being insecure," she said. "I am with you, am I not? Do not ruin a good thing by overthinking." He tried to trust her, tried to believe that his history with rejection was making him see shadows where there were none. Tiana's impatience for a ring grew stronger with time. It started as light comments, then turned into pressure. At brunch, she would sigh loudly when their friends flashed engagement rings and wedding photos. "We have been together for almost 2 years, she reminded him one night. "What are you waiting for? I am not trying to be somebody's girlfriend forever." Marcus felt the weight of her expectations heavy on his chest. He wanted a family, too, but he also wanted peace. He wondered if their love was deep enough or just wrapped in beautiful photos and expensive dinners. One evening, Marcus sat at his mother's kitchen table, stirring sugar into his tea while Evelyn studied his face. "You look tired," she said gently. "Talk to me." He told her everything, the past rejections, the glamour, the flirting, the pressure. Evelyn listened quietly, her eyes full of concern. "Baby, love should not make you feel small," she said. "If she did not want you when you had nothing, and now she is rushing marriage when you have everything, you ought to ask why. Do not ignore your spirit just because your heart is lonely." Marcus also spoke with his attorney, Mr. Harris, who had helped him structure his real estate deals. Without going into emotional details, Marcus explained he was considering marriage and wanted to protect his assets. Harris did not judge. He simply laid out options. "You can put properties in an LLC under your mother's name, create clear paperwork, and keep records of when transfers happen," he said. "It is not about distrust. It is about wisdom. If someone loves you, they should love you with or without access to your wealth." The plan sounded harsh, but necessary. Quietly, over several months, Marcus transferred the deeds of his properties and major assets into companies and accounts under his mother's name. He kept a modest salary for himself and a reasonable personal account. On paper, he looked comfortable, but not wealthy. Evelyn questioned him at first, but trusted his judgment. "I just want to make sure no one can take what we bled for," he told her. At the same time, he shopped for a ring that sparkled like the future he still hoped they could build, praying that the precautions would never be needed. When Marcus finally proposed, he did it in grand fashion, on a rooftop downtown, city lights glittering below. He dropped to one knee while a photographer captured the moment. Tiana gasped, covering her mouth as tears pooled in her eyes. "Yes, yes," she shouted before he could even finish the question. She threw her arms around him, and everyone around them cheered. The photos went viral in their circle. Comments flooded in. "Power couple, about time. She deserves it." Marcus smiled for the camera, but inside he battled a quiet unease he could not fully name. The wedding was even more extravagant. Tiana planned every detail, from the gold accents on the table settings to the custom neon sign with their last name. Marcus wrote heartfelt vows about loyalty, resilience, and choosing each other through storms. Tiana's vows were pretty, but centered heavily on the life she believed they deserved together: travel, luxury, and never worrying about bills again. People clapped, cried, and danced late into the night. Marcus held his bride and whispered, "We made it." Under the joy, though, a small voice still whispered, "Do you really have her heart?" The first months of marriage felt like an extended honeymoon. They moved into a beautiful home that Marcus technically did not own anymore, though only he and his mother knew that. Tiana decorated it with expensive furniture and artwork, posting every update online. "Soft life only," she captioned one video, showcasing their kitchen. At night, they cooked together, watched movies, and made love. Marcus tried to believe this was his reward for years of struggle. He told himself that faith required trust, and he was tired of dissecting every word and gesture like a crime scene. Slowly, the tone shifted. Tiana began snapping at him over small things: dishes in the sink, a missed text, a business call that ran long. "You do not make enough time for me," she complained, scrolling through her phone while he tried to talk. When he reminded her that his work funded their lifestyle, she scoffed. "Please, you love acting like you are the only man who works. There are plenty of men with money out here." The way she said it felt like a knife. Arguments became common, ending with her storming off and slamming doors. Marcus noticed she started coming home later, dressed up even when she claimed she was just out with the girls. Her perfume lingered in the air long after she passed by. She guarded her phone fiercely, taking it with her even to the bathroom. One night, while she showered, a message flashed across the screen. "Last night was crazy. When can I see you again?" His stomach dropped. His hands trembled as he stared at the words. He did not unlock it, but he did not need to. The pieces fit together with painful clarity. When he confronted her, his voice was quiet, almost too calm. "Are you seeing someone else, Tiana?" She rolled her eyes. "There you go again," she said. "Always paranoid. You cannot stand the idea that other people might find me attractive." He told her about the message he saw. Her face hardened. "So now you are snooping through my phone? That is controlling and toxic," she snapped. She flipped the argument, accusing him of being insecure and emotionally exhausting. By the end of the night, she was the one crying and claiming he was destroying their marriage. Days later, she grew cold and distant, barely speaking except to criticize. She complained to her friends loudly on the phone, making sure he heard. "I cannot be stuck with a man who stresses me out," she said. "There are men who would worship me." Marcus felt himself shrinking under the weight of her contempt. One afternoon, when he came home early, he noticed a neat stack of papers on the dining table and a tightening in his chest. He did not know what they were yet, but his spirit did. Something was about to snap. A week later, he got served. The process server stood at his office door, expression neutral, as he handed Marcus a thick envelope. "You have been served," the man said. Inside were divorce papers. Tiana had claimed emotional neglect and hinted at financial control, painting herself as a trapped woman needing freedom and her fair share of assets. Marcus read every line slowly, his face expressionless. Harris, his attorney, sat across from him later and sighed. "She thinks you are worth far more on paper than you are now," he said. "She is expecting a fortune." At mediation, Tiana walked in dressed sharply, chin lifted high, confidence radiating from her. Her lawyer spoke as if they were dissecting a corporation, not a marriage. Given Mr. Cole's substantial real estate holdings and investments, my client is entitled to a generous settlement alimony and half of all marital assets, the attorney declared. Tiana folded her arms, glancing at Marcus with a smug smirk. She truly believed she was about to cash out on the life she thought she had earned just by being there. Marcus listened quietly, waiting for his turn. Harris slid a folder across the table calmly. With all due respect, he said, my client does not own the majority of the assets you are referring to. These properties were transferred to an entity under his mother's name before this marriage ever took place. We have the full documentation and timestamps to confirm this. He laid out the deeds, transfer dates, and corporate structures. What Mr. Cole personally owns is significantly smaller than you assumed. However, he is willing to offer a fair, modest settlement to resolve this quickly. The room went silent. Tiana's face drained of color as she scanned the documents. What do you mean they are not his? She demanded, turning to Marcus. All those houses, all those buildings you told me, he meteorized evenly. I told you I work for everything I have, he replied. I never promised you half of it if you decided to walk away and betray our vows. You married me, not my mother's company. Her lawyer tried to argue, but the paper trail was airtight. Legally, she was entitled only to a small split of what remained. When she realized her plan had failed, Tiana exploded. So you planned this? She shouted in the hallway after the session. You never trusted me. Tears streaked her carefully done makeup. Marcus swallowed hard. You never loved me, he said quietly. You loved what you thought you could get from me. You rejected me when I was broke. You cheated when I was devoted. You filed for divorce expecting a payday. You showed me exactly who you are. I just finally believed you. His voice shook, but his spine stayed straight. For the first time, he walked away. Karma did not come all at once for Tiana, but it came. Word spread about the failed divorce, about her other relationship that ended when a man realized she would not be getting the money she boasted about. Friends pulled back. Job opportunities faded as her messy personal life spilled online. She moved into a small apartment. The luxury life gone. Marcus, meanwhile, healed slowly, leaning on therapy, faith, and family. He built more quietly and loved more carefully. Years later, when they crossed paths at a grocery store, she looked tired. He wished her well and kept walking, finally free. If you enjoyed this story, please like, comment, and share this video with your friends. Subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you never miss a powerful story drop.